Yo, what's going on, party people? It's the kid, the one and only L Wavy Baby himself. You dig what I'm saying? Tapping in with y'all. One time for the one time from Wavo World. You dig? Now, as you can see, first, gotta thank y'all for tapping in, from day one to today to many days ahead. You dig what I'm saying? Um, I always gotta leave with saying that, because y'all could be spending y'all time doing a lot of other things other than tapping in with me and seeing what's going on from a conscious reality of mine. You feel me? So I always appreciate the energy y'all give, dig? But yeah, as you can see, real comfortable today. Real comfortable today. And if you can see on the board back here, um, real broad topic. We're gonna give honesty hour today, you know. And as always, we're gonna jump straight into it. But honesty hour today is honesty of mind, and why things are the way they are, why it looks the way it looks, and why I move the way I move, why I am the way I am, things of that nature. You dig what I'm saying? So, for starters, let's start with me being honest with myself. I feel like Wavo World is filtered. I feel like it's watered down a little bit. Reason being is because I don't the spacing that I need to be as free with my energy and my words. I don't have. When I'm doing this, a lot of times it gets a bit uncomfortable from time to time because I don't live in a realm of space where everyone is on the same page with me when we talk about consciousness, which is okay. Again, the reason why I don't do a whole lot of forcing or pressing or marketing in a certain way is because I'm not trying to push this energy up on anyone. This is my lifestyle. There's hundreds of thousands of probably even millions of people who live a lifestyle identical or similar to mine, but not very many, or few and far, should I say. So I understand the disconnect in that. However, when you talk about the amount of disrespect I receive for it within my household when I'm doing certain stuff like my podcast, the door slamming, the deep sighs when I mention certain stuff in levels of consciousness and perception, just certain stuff like just to throw me off. And sometimes it gets the best of me. Sometimes it catches me off guard and I'll lose a train of thought, or I'll be extremely cautious about touchy subjects, when I know it in conversations that are had on a regular within my household, because again, it isn't a perspective that's agreed upon. So it's almost as if there's a respect that isn't there to mutually disagree, and I'm a person that can. I always been that way. I don't expect anyone to just see things my way. Never have. My life has been so eccentric, so different, to the point where most people don't see things through my lenses or through my perspective, which is fine. But being bluntly and blatantly disrespectful to me about it, not happening. The reason why I push being positive and staying positive so much in my life is because I have every reason to be rude, mean, negative, just a horrible, troubled soul. And I've worked very hard, very hard, even since the days of my youth, to maintain not just a positive image, but a positive character and mentality true to myself, and I feel like I get tested so much for that. There's so many things that I put up with, just for sake of not being looked at as the negative character, or always being cast as, the nemesis or the antagonist, which it's crazy that to say I move in such a frequency of positivity that that's what I always get written out to be. And it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating, And what I'm noticing about it, though, I said this some years ago to some friends when we were having a conversation, and it was this guy. He was just saying to us at the time, it's like, man, all I want to do is help people and be positive and, live greatly and whatever have you, be able to provide when I can. And it just, saying, it just seems like I just go through the worst of the worst. And I have this type of heart, and it just kind of blurted out of me. It's just like, there's no way to be a light, that shines bright amongst other light. Lights shine the brightest in the darkness. So with that being said, I have an overstanding in my life that I'm gonna go through some of the darkest of times and moments, specifically because I'm a light in my own right. And I don't walk it in a means of being egotistical or arrogant or anything of that nature. But what I'm also not going to do is dim my light because someone else lacks the confidence or courage to walk in their own or hasn't discovered it for themselves. So, again, going back to feeling disrespected because certain people haven't grasped it for themselves or can't or won't or can't, it has nothing to do with me, like, sincerely. So again, the reason why I'm so foot strong and 10 toes about it for me is because I don't take things personally. I've spoken this before when you talk about me having spiritual interactions with situations. Being that I deal with so many things internally from a spiritual pretext or context, I know that as a man thinketh, so is he. So your life, as you deal with internally, will externalize, so I'm aware that certain spiritual battles that I'm having aren't indicative to a person's nature all the time, unless it's on a consistent or a persistent basis, like something that's just always going on within this specific person or what have you. At that point, it's a characteristic. But when it's a cycle of energy that's passing through situations of people, not the same person at all times, I become very aware that it's a spiritual interaction that I'm having amongst myself. So I'm not very, I'm not very emotional with taking things personal in that right. However, again, when I recognize the reoccurrence through a specific person, that's when I begin to take it personal in the right of like, hey, whatever's necessary of me that needs to be addressed because I'm standing in the chest of everything. I can't, I just can't run. I have no flight about me. Everything is fight, period. I'm in warrior mode, and I feel that's a necessity for the amount of love I live in. That's the only way to protect my energy and aura, and I say it like that too because me being so open-hearted, people find me to be so accessible because of that, like playing on the strings of that, knowing like, hey, I can manipulate this person, this energy, because it's so open-hearted. It's almost as if it's read upon me that I wish not to be an, but I'll be completely honest, because I'm so open-hearted and so naturally genuine and nice in that right, the opposite and flip side of me is the biggest in the world, and I fight against being that person because I don't like him. I personally genuinely don't like him, but I'll be completely honest, at this point I've become comfortable with showing and giving people they deserve it. Ooh-wee, that's a loaded honesty hour, right? And we ain't even made it a full 10 minutes in. So yeah, that's probably a loaded way to begin it, but that's absolutely the space that I'm in, as a metaphysician, as a quote unquote light worker, and I say quote unquote because I know personally I'm doing a lot of shadow work right now. A lot of things I'm dealing with within myself. I can't even say past or childhood traumas, but I can say past situations that affected me in certain types of ways, to where I'm trying to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes. And the mistakes for me are showing me that I was really just too nice, period. Prime example. Some of us, and I'll say us like this because I'm this type of person, my type of love can be taken advantage of in the sense of, if I have a certain type of friendship to you, it's not that I'll say there's no boundaries, but there's an openness to things that I'll do for you just out of love, without without expecting return, you know. And if you're a person like me in that right, people will use that to the advantage of coercing that energy as best they know how to get whatever they see fit, best suits them and benefit, you know. And the power of saying no, you know, is deep, because you have to say blatantly no. And then after saying no, you have to say it again and again and again. And I'm saying it like that because if you don't say no directly and you're trying to be indirect with your response, that doesn't always cut through, you know. And the thing about the level of awareness that we have to be on is that these energies from the other side, from the opposing force, they work very well in spells. So when we talk about, the English language being, or just words themselves being spells, because it wouldn't be called spelling words if it weren't spells. People are very, very strategic about how they use their words against you when you won't be direct with your intention, right? So just for self, again, using me as the example, just really having to put my foot down when I see my energy is trying to be used for other things, when I've already, verbalized that this is what it is, this is what it won't be, right? So that there should be no confusion of energy. And it's really not allowing that to go any other way, you know. And I'll leave it at that for sake of explanation. I don't like to be extremely personal, but I feel like you guys understand what I'm saying with just having had said that, you know. But I just feel like right now it's just very, very important to stop being so nice, not just for me, but for a lot of us going through this transition. A lot of us think that becoming conscious or becoming spiritual is about just that, being being Gandhi-like. And to an extent, that's necessary. And when you talk about, cooling the waters, or cooling that feeling of anger within your soul, learning how to really control that. But again, like I said earlier, in the beginning of the day, it's like honing that love energy enough in you to know that you are a warrior. They always say they gotta test your heart, see how much heart you have, but they never told you that the warrior has the most heart because of his passion and love for what he's fighting for. You know what I mean? So like, I know for self, I'm definitely in warrior mode for whatever I'm fighting for, but it's time out. It's definitely time out. People want answers, people are frustrated, and people are trying to make things happen, but we're steadily allowing other things to not just distract us, but manipulate our energy, whether it be for whatever reason. And most times we giving it away. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not doing it no more. Whether it be you trying to forcibly make me angry, or it be you try to forcibly take an energy from me because you see me in just the good moods and positive vibes, whatever the case may be. I'm very much so paying close attention to what's going on around me, and I'm not allowing people to have it for what they want it for, period. So yeah, I feel like that just had to get off my chest though. I've been having people kind of get with me, and and they're watching what's going on with Wavo World. And again, I appreciate you guys, but I'm definitely going to start being more transparent, more open, more raw, you know, who I am as a person. I feel like what you guys have seen so far is a very polished version of me, you know, and I just want people to know that I'm still a real person. I'm not just something I'm just trying to draw up a character and slap it on camera to feed it to y'all. I'm still very much so rough around the edges, even though I am who I am in consciousness and spirituality and in emotional intelligence, you know. However, I'm still me, you know. So I just encourage that right now. Living your truth, speaking your truth, standing on that, regardless of what you feel like the consequences and repercussions may be. It's time out for fearing that. Living in the fear-based mentality is part of the reason why we can't manifest right now. You know, we're in the age of Aquarius where this information and this energy is pouring out in abundance to us, and we still living in fear. We still worried about what the next person thinks or is saying or trying to maneuver amongst us. Why? It don't even matter, literally. If we don't subscribe to anything that they're trying to place on us in any way, shape, or form, how can it then work? The only way that magic and spells works on anyone is if you accept it. And only the magicians and alchemists and, you know, spiritualists will understand what I just said. I repeat it, the only way spells and magic works on anyone is if you accept it. Whether it be through the eyes of the soul, the windows to the soul, your eyes, your ears, through auditory. And excuse me, I'm having a delay in my headphones. That's why my words are tongue-tying worse today. Excuse me, it's probably something I should have tried to figure out a little sooner today. But hey, we just jumped on and winged it a little bit, right? But yeah, those type of things we have to accept. We have to accept those things. Like, I had I'm in my clothes today from the vibes I was dropping. I dropped a video today, and it was funny because I got with a DJ earlier in the week, and I had sent them some music before, you know, some music I didn't necessarily for sake of what the engineering quality sounded like. I didn't necessarily love the sound quality of the songs, you know, but he accepted it, shared it around, whatever at that time. And it's just odd because a song that I know that the fans have been telling me about that they like, even though it doesn't sound as clear in audio, they were waiting on something from me to produce out of it. In video, sends it back. I give them I give a fully refurbished and polished version of the song, so on and so forth. And it's like when I send it back to him, he's like, no, I'm not feeling this one. And granted, I wasn't bugging. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I definitely don't subscribe to it. And it was just weird because I had sent him a song before that he'd said blatantly he did not like, but he still offered to take my money. And when I think about that type of thing, just understanding the ideology behind knowing your worth and knowing what's going on and knowing what's best suited for you. You gotta know when a person is willing to use you and when a person is actually willing to help you. And that was just a situation where I learned like the type of mentality, not that's just within this game, but within that particular person, someone I thought like, hey, maybe I could work with. But things, I'm not rushing anything. I'm moving in accordance with the spirit right now, and whatever is coming in natural alignment to that is what I'm willing and only wanting at this point, and I fight for that, and I don't fight against that grain. You know what I mean? So anyone that's rocking with me, for me, I appreciate you. It's more or less what I'm saying too at this moment, because it's just like, the fake love, man, it gets very old, man. It gets very, very old, and it gets harder to deal with, you know. But I know this come with that, and I know will come with this, you know what I mean? So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I haven't even, in my opinion, I haven't done anything but just begun, you know? So I get it. I understand the nature of the game that I'm playing. I understand, and I don't mean that in the means of music. I really mean that in the sense of consciousness and becoming metaphysical and really being into all things spiritual. So again, I understand the nature of the game that I'm playing, which is why I I'm not very quick to get frustrated, or really angry. I do get frustrated, but sometimes that frustration is necessary to propel you into a certain position of thought to then then pose an action out of you. Everything, the law of cause and effect, there has to be a reasoning why you did what you did. So me understanding that in principle, I definitely allow, emotion is just energy in motion. I definitely allow my energy and my emotion to be used to propel me, not to stagnate me or hold me back. So in short, I'm just seeing it. I'm seeing it firsthand. I'm seeing it, day in and day out. I'm seeing it, but I'm interacting with it completely different. I'm not giving it the response that it will want. I'm not being reactionary. You know what I mean? I'm allowing it to do what it's doing. I'm assessing what actually happened, and then I'm making a move based on, a principle. I'm allowing my head, heart, and hands to align with each other. You know what I mean? But I can't tell you that it's not hard. I can't tell you that it's not frustrating. I can't tell you that I don't have my days where I don't want to just slap the shit out of someone because they're actually asking for it. I can't tell you that I don't have my days where I want to cuss somebody out because they're cussing me out in another language, thinking that I don't understand what's going on. Just like that, you know what I mean? And again, me being a positive person and a positive being, people think that I won't stand up for myself in that. Man, listen, I've been through so much stuff that I haven't elaborated on or even expressed or told, that people wouldn't even think that it's real. They would think it was all false and a lie, and I'm trying to just give you a depiction of me just for sake of thinking that I'm hard or tough. And really, that's not my intention either. That's why I'm eager to just be myself. You know what I mean? at every given moment and chance. I'm not out to prove nothing to nobody. But I'm also not eager to be nobody's friend either. And I feel like people get that confused in the type of energy that I carry. I'm sociable. I'm charismatic. I know how to be professional. You know what I mean? I know how to shake hands and kiss babies' cheeks, those type of things. But I'm not very friendly at all, because when you talk about people's intentions, they aren't always for the best. And I have to, that energy has to resonate with me so strong that it has to near be exactly who I am in heart for me to even rock with it a certain type of way, And again, like I said earlier, it's few and far. So I just don't want people to be frustrated and angry with me when they're not getting what they once were getting, and when they're not getting what they thought they were going to receive out of me. I've been trying to explain for a very long time, who I am, but I don't think people are listening. So at that point, it's not on me, it's on you. I don't give a father about nobody's feelings at this point. And I'm saying it like that for people to get the concept and premise. You know what I mean? It just kind of is what it is, But I don't know. I feel like that's it. But at the same time, there are words that are just hitting my brain. It's called Honesty Hour. So I'm trying to make sure I get it all out. I want to say this too to the people in the back that haven't been really paying attention to what I'm saying in spiritual belief. As a metaphysician, I'm able to take from all things that are of spiritual nature draw from and use what benefits me and leave behind the rest. With that being said, I've said this a billion times at this point. My information, initially came out of the Bible. I know I don't have the same viewing as most Christians do, especially at this stage of the game for me. However, it's not to be disrespected that I am who I am in knowing this from that book. So if there's questions to be had from people, to me, who know me directly, you can talk to me. You can ask me questions. But don't dare for 2 seconds disrespect me like I don't know. Like I don't know that book, Probably better than some Christians do. And I say it that way because there's a lot of Christians who turn their nose up with me and judge me for how I'll go about living my life when I don't even judge you. And I say it like that because most people who live this lifestyle become very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not erratic, but it's a word that escapes me right now. I'm not just combative either, but they'll be more likely to throw dirt on the name of any religion, but I don't do that. The reason why I don't hold the same belief in Christianity as I once did, because now knowing what I know that we haven't been taught the things that we needed to know from this book the way that we should have been taught them if we were really meant to gain empowerment out of this book. You know what I mean? So I don't have a frustration with that group of people. I have a frustration with how it's being taught, which is why I'll never go sit under, another person's teachings for what I know. I'll never go sit in another person's church, and have them speak to me in an energy that I know is just succubus. See, and most people don't even understand what that means. And basically that's just draining the energy from you. See, I don't even know why. Let me school some people right quick for those who believe that they are so high and mighty above those of us who have understood these principles and just look at us like we're hell goers, right, at this point. The pyramids were built as charge points. And at the highest point, at its point, if that makes any sense, it is how it gained its power from the natural environments, right? And at each point that it is placed, throughout the world, not just in Africa and Egypt, right? It's able to then gain a certain amount of power based on its infrastructure and its external structure. The churches were built based on the same principle when we talk about its steeples. And when we talk about the energies that date back further than Christianity, there's a I want to say archetype, but a deity in Adalderbroth that sits over the Christianity religion, which is basically taking all the energy in those that praise it. So those that never figure out that God, that heaven is a place within, but that God is you, are just on a regular basis freely giving that energy into a deity. And it's just crazy to think that, and part of, just backtrack just a little bit to say too, part of what pushed me on this journey in my youth, in my 19s and 20s, was just remembering when I was a kid, like going to Baptist church and just church in general and seeing preachers become ordained really through the Spirit, not through going through just what do they call it? Not vocational Bible school, but going through missionary school, so to say, right? And getting a certification to then become a priest, because at that point anyone could do that. When I started seeing the energy of that leaving the church, I started to question then what was going on heavily. And as I asked questions, the Spirit revealed to me. So, and there's so many things within that book that backs up everything that I say. It backs up everything that I say, literally. So that's why I don't bother arguing with those people. They don't want to do their own research. That's on them. And then you turn blind eye to something that you learn. It's like, oh, this can't be right. That's an improper interpretation. Right? Because you were told to believe a certain type of way. You were taught to look at it a certain type of way. The only one way. Wow, that's crazy. Like y'all were told that it was this way. Not even thinking that you were being taught to teach masses this one way for sake of control. But nobody wants to talk about that. They rather demonize us for finding out who we are. Yeah, that's the game. The game is to be sold, not to be told. And there you have it. Pimping at its finest. Religion. But I just know I won't be hushed. I won't be shut up. I won't. For whatever they wanted me to be in quiet, I can't. I just can't do it. I know what they thought I was, but I'm not him. I'm this. And that's just really that for me at this point. But above all, if I could give any encouragement to those of us dealing with this exact energy at this point, in spiritual nature and consciousness, keep your head up. But by all means, fight. Do not, I repeat, do not be too nice. Do not give the benefit of the doubt when you know you shouldn't. Do not disregard and dismiss blatant messages when you know that's what it is. Exactly what it's telling you what it is. And don't let nobody sell you a bogus reason to try to, confuse the thought frame or change the mindset of what you saw it for what it was. Don't let nobody play that magic on you at this point, because it's going on rapidly, very, very rapidly. Because I've said it before. I'm a firm believer in people know what they be doing. Trust me. Nobody's that naive, especially once you get to certain ages. And then we innately come with certain senses to do certain things, with certain senses to then pick up on certain things as well. So trust me, your gut ain't wrong. That's pure discernment speaking to you. You know what I mean? So deeper than, when you feel to move a certain type of way, when you feel to have a certain response, allow it to happen. In most cases, as long as it's not being directly harmful to nobody. And sometimes you gotta harm someone to protect you. If it's in that type of right, sometimes you got to do that. Do not second guess that either. If it's you over them, by all means, you better choose you. You better choose you. Because you got a mission to do. I don't know about you, but that's how I'm living. You dig? Above everything, man, y'all stay up. Y'all stay safe. Y'all please stay safe, because they are out here in every way they know how to be. You dig? Y'all stay prosperous, you heard me? Love.